Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw Review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Keybank Center in Buffalo, here in New York. And the show just ended. And Monday Night Raw tonight, take it away, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Boring.
Yeah, absolutely boring. This show sucks. This show absolutely fucking sucks. This show is just lifeless. There's nothing redeeming about this show. Nothing. I mean, what took place on the show tonight? We had Matt Riddle and Drew McIntyre versus Giovanni, Vinci, and Ludwig Kaiser. We had Zoey Stark versus Becky Lynch. And I'm tired of this whole Becky Lynch Trish Stratus feud. This feud needs to end. It really does. Shayna Baszler took on Jobber Emma. Yeah, Emma was in action. We had another rematch. The Miz versus Tomato Champa. Only it was a no disqualification match. We had Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green versus Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. And in the main event, we had the Judgment Day. We had Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio ended up taking on Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. We also had the face-to-face between Ricochet and Logan Paul, which I did not give two shits about. And we also had Maxine Dupri's graduation ceremony because of her winning her debut match last week on Monday Night Raw, defeating Valhalla. Great. Is that exciting? No. Man, Monday Night Raw, the show absolutely fucking sucks. Absolutely. Whole amount of nothing happened on this show. But before I get into the review, if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded earlier today, did a movie review of The Fury, which of course is a Brian De Palma film. It's very underrated. Definitely check out my review of it if you guys haven't seen it. But it's a very good movie. Really liked it. So check it out. If you guys haven't seen it, check out my review. But anyways, let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw opened up tonight with Finn Balor. Finn Balor came down to the ring. The crowd there in Buffalo were booing him. Balor got on the mic. He ended up saying the way things went down at Money in the Bank still doesn't sit right with him. He ended up saying that the issues between him and Seth Rollins haven't been put to rest because of Damian Priest. And then the Judgment Day's music ended up hitting. So we all thought that Damian Priest was going to come out. But instead of Damian Priest, out came Rhea Ripley and Dominic. So Rhea Ripley got on the mic. She ended up asking, what is going on? She ended up saying that she knows that Balor has some unfinished business he would love to discuss, but they won't do it out here. She ended up saying whatever it is, they can do it in the back. So Balor ended up saying to Rhea Ripley that his issue is with Damian Priest and not with her or Dom. So we had Balor end up saying that Priest ended up costing him the World Heavyweight Championship at Money in the Bank. Rhea Ripley then got into the ring and she ended up pushing Balor's mic down. Rhea Ripley ended up telling Balor to calm down. So Balor ended up speaking with Rhea Ripley and then he dropped the mic and left the ring. Dominic Mysterio was at ringside watching let's go down. Balor looked at Dom suspiciously, and Balor walked by him. So Dom got into the ring, and Rhea Ripley ended up saying what they just saw is their business. And the only thing the people need to know is the Judgment Day still runs Monday Night Raw. Rhea Ripley then challenged anyone to come out and question that fact. She ended up saying that she's still the most dominant woman in the company. She ended up saying tonight her Latino heat, Dominic, will finish his business when he puts down Seth Rollins. So Dom ended up going to speak, but of course he loudly got booed out of the building by the crowd there in Buffalo, which you could tell at points, it was piped in boos, because we all know that WWE loves to put in piped in crowd noises. So we had Dom end up pacing in the ring, very angry at the boos coming from the crowd. And so then Seth Rollins' music ended up hitting. And he came out to the stage and he had a plate of buffalo wings. Of course, because they were in Buffalo in New York, upstate. And Seth Rollins with those glasses. What was up with the glasses that he was wearing? It looked like he was auditioning for a part in Star Trek. So Dom was shouting for Rollins' music to be cut. So Rollins got on the mic. He ended up saying, no one is out here to hear Dom run his mouth. He ended up saying that we're here to party, eat wings, and watch the Judgment Day implode right before our very eyes. Dom ended up saying that the only thing that will implode is Rollins' head when he beats him later on tonight. Rollins ended up saying that Dom is going to beat him. And Rollins then cackled, he cackled into the mic, which caused Rhea Ripley to seethe with anger. Rollins ended up saying that he has some bad news for Mami. He ended up saying tonight he'll be the only one whipping little Dom's ass. So Rollins then ended up dancing off while eating the wings. And pretty much that was basically how the segment ended. But overall, just a very meh segment this was. Finn Balor coming out there, issuing his issues with Damian Priest, and how Damian Priest cost him the World Heavyweight Championship at Money in the Bank. And then Seth Rollins, comes out there eating wings. Looked like he got the wings. He just came from a local bar and then came to the arena holding the plate of wings. So just overall, just meh segment to open Monday Night Raw tonight. So then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we saw Damian Priest. Damian Priest was backstage, and Rhea Ripley and Dom came up to him. Priest ended up saying that they went exactly like he thought it would. Rhea Ripley ended up telling Damian Priest that it didn't go the way she planned it, but they need to grow up, act like men, and squash it. Priest ended up telling Rhea Ripley that he already spoke to Balor, but he chose not to listen. So Priest ended up saying for Rhea Ripley, he'll talk to Balor again. So Rhea Ripley ended up saying good. And then she walked off with Dom, and pretty much that was that. And then we had the first match of the night, which was a tag team match. Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle versus Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. Of course, they were accompanied by Gunther, the Intercontinental Champion. And this was a decent match here. Match started off with Matt Riddle and Ludwig Kaiser going at it. Both guys ended up locking up. Riddle applied a waistlock on Kaiser, and he took him down. Riddle ended up going for an armbar, but Kaiser fought back up, ended up backing Riddle into the corner. Kaiser then punched Riddle in his midsection, ended up hitting a headlock takeover. Kaiser then locked in a side headlock on Riddle, but Riddle fought out of that. Riddle tried to whip Kaiser off. Kaiser ended up holding onto Riddle's head with the headlock. Riddle then got up, ended up twisting out of the headlock, and ended up going in for a lock on Kaiser. Kaiser quickly ended up backing Riddle to the corner, started punching Riddle in the face. So Riddle then responded with a pair of gut-wrench suplexes to Kaiser. Riddle then wrenched the arm of Kaiser, and then he tagged in Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre came to the ring, and this was his first match since WrestleMania. So Giovanni Vinci ended up attacking McIntyre from behind. McIntyre quickly took Vinci down with a clothesline. McIntyre ended up chopping Vinci down and tagged Riddle in. McIntyre ended up helping Riddle hit a standing floating bro to Vinci, to which he ended up going for the cover, and Vinci ended up kicking out. Vinci then quickly took Riddle down with a swinging back suplex. Vinci then choked Riddle on the middle rope, and the referee had to back Vinci up. Kaiser then tagged in. He started toying Drew McIntyre. Riddle then caught Kaiser with an armbar while hanging over the top rope. Vinci ended up taking down Riddle with a drop kick. Kaiser then ended up hitting a baseball slide on Riddle, which sent Riddle flying off the apron. And so Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Vinci was in control of the match. He was beating Riddle down with some clotheslines. Riddle ended up countering a clothesline into a crucifix pin, to which Vinci ended up kicking out. Vinci ended up booting Riddle down, and he tagged Kaiser in. So Kaiser ended up going for the cover on Riddle, and Riddle kicked out. So Kaiser ended up locking in a chin lock on Riddle. Riddle then ended up fighting up, and he was exchanging blows with Kaiser in the ring. Kaiser then absorbed a kick, and he ended up uppercutting Riddle, and then he ended up hitting a flatliner. So Kaiser ended up booting McIntyre in the head. Riddle then countered a discus lariat with an overhead kick to Kaiser. McIntyre got on the apron, and we had the crowd end up coming to their feet. They got to their feet. Kaiser ended up stopping Riddle from making a tag to McIntyre, and then Kaiser tagged in Vinci. Vinci ended up hitting a vertical suplex to Riddle, which he ended up going for the cover, and Riddle ended up kicking out. Vinci ended up setting up for an Imperium Bomb, but Riddle ended up hitting a back body drop to Vinci. He ended up kneeing Kaiser in the face, coming off the middle rope. McIntyre then ended up tagging in. He clotheslined both Kaiser and Vinci down. McIntyre sent Vinci into the ropes, and ended up hitting a overhead belly-to-belly suplex to Vinci. McIntyre then ended up grabbing Vinci, ended up giving him another belly-to-belly suplex. McIntyre ended up hitting Kaiser with a neckbreaker, which was followed by neckbreaker to Vinci. McIntyre then looked at Gunther. He ended up giving Vinci a powerbomb. So McIntyre walked towards Gunther and looked Gunther right in the eye. McIntyre ended up going to the corner. He ended up doing the countdown, the 3, 2, 1. But Kaiser ended up interfering. McIntyre ended up throwing Kaiser away. So Gunther ended up using his distraction to pull McIntyre out of the ring while the ref checked on Kaiser. Riddle then quickly stunned Gunther with a diving knee to his head off the ring steps. McIntyre then got into the ring. He ended up laying out Vinci with the Claymore. Riddle then locked Kaiser in the ankle lock. And then McIntyre ended up pinning Vinci. So there you go. Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle ended up winning the match. Post-match, Gunther was furious. He started shouting at Vinci, and he ended up walking off on Vinci. Vinci ended up looking shocked. And so Kaiser looked at Vinci, and then he followed Gunther. And pretty much that was basically that. But looks like maybe a breakup of Imperium due to Vinci. They're teasing that. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens. But overall, it was a decent tag team match here with McIntyre and Riddle and Kaiser and Vinci. And then we went backstage. And we saw the Judgment Day. Finn Balor ended up saying that he'd be World Heavyweight Champion if it wasn't for Damian Priest. So Rhea Ripley ended up telling Balor and Priest to stop acting like children. Rhea Ripley ended up telling them to go one at a time, with Priest going first. Priest ended up saying that it was never his intention to cost Balor the match at Money in the Bank, and that he wanted Balor to win the match and the World Heavyweight Championship. Priest ended up saying that he never would have cashed in on Balor. He ended up saying that they can go back to handling their business, or Balor ended up saying that they can have a fresh start under one condition. Balor ended up saying that he has issues with Seth Rollins and wants Rollins first. Priest ended up saying to Balor he has no problem with that. Priest ended up saying that he knows Balor can beat Rollins. He ended up saying either way, it's covered. Priest then held up the briefcase and he walked off with Rhea Ripley and Dominic. So pretty much that was basically that. Balor and Priest made up. Balor, wants to have Rollins first, and then Priest wants to have Rollins after. So, looks like maybe Damian Priest, when he cashes in the briefcase, he's going to cash it in on Seth Rollins, for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then we had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn backstage. Of course, we had a recap of the Tribal Court that happened on SmackDown this past Friday, so we saw that. And then they announced that Fastlane is coming to Indianapolis in October. So, who cares about Fastlane? So then Jackie Redmond was backstage with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And she was telling Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn that they have successfully defended the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship on numerous occasions since WrestleMania. And she ended up telling them both, what's next? Sami Zayn ended up saying, more of the same. They'll keep going on winning. He ended up saying that they beat Pretty Deadly, or Pretty Awful, and also came out on top of Imperium. He ended up saying that it doesn't matter who it is, and that they'll take them out. So then we have Rhea Ripley and Dominic end up walking up to them. And Kevin Owens, Hulk smash, getting into his attitude, saying, oh, no one called them, and that they need to follow the rules. So Rhea Ripley ended up saying that they didn't say the Judgment Day. And he ended up saying any combination of them can beat them for the titles. And that they're taking all the titles. She ended up saying tonight her Dom will smash Seth Rollins' head in. Rhea Ripley ended up saying that Dom worked on his cardio in prison and that he never gets tired. So Rhea and Dom end up walking off. And so Sami Zayn ended up wondering what Rhea Ripley meant by that. So pretty much that was that. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had an Indus Sheer, package. Who cares? Does anybody care about Indus Sheer? And then we had Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio. So Dominic ended up coming out first before Monday Night Raw went to commercial. And then Seth Rollins made his way out. So as Seth Rollins was making his way to the ring, Rhea Ripley distracted him, which gave Dom a chance to attack Seth Rollins from behind. Dom ended up punching away at Rollins. Rollins fought back. He still had his jacket on while Dom was beating him up. So both Rollins and Dom were brawling at ringside. Rollins ended up knocking Dom into the crowd and started chasing him. Dom ended up running away through the crowd, and then he got back to ringside. And so Damian Priest and Finn Balor ended up attacking Rollins from behind. So it was a plan all along by the Judgment Day. So Priest ended up punching away at Rollins at ringside, and that brought out Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn ran down to make the save, and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens ended up attacking Balor and Priest in the ring. Rollins ran in with a steel chair in hand. He chased Balor and Priest away. Dom then ended up getting hit in the spine with a chair shot from Rollins. Rollins stood tall in the ring with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and the crowd was singing Rollins' theme song, and pretty much that was that. So the match did not get underway. But of course, knew it here, a good old-fashioned six-man tag was going to come into play. So then we got that as the main event of Monday Night Raw tonight. And then we had the face-to-face between Ricochet and Logan Paul. So Ricochet made his way out to the ring. He greeted Buffalo. Ricochet ended up saying that everybody knows why he's here. He ended up saying before he gets into it, he wants to say something to the crowd from the heart. He ended up saying that if you know him, from the moment he steps through the curtain, every risk he takes is for the people. He ended up saying that he wants them to remember him as the highlight of their nights. Ricochet ended up saying that tonight he's here for one individual person, and that is Logan Paul, to which the crowd ended up booing. So Ricochet ended up saying that he feels the same way. He ended up saying that he knows Logan Paul is here, and that Logan Paul has accomplished a lot in a short time in the WWE. Ricochet ended up saying that him and Logan Paul crossed paths on multiple occasions. He ended up saying one of those occasions was Paul jumping him after Money in the Bank because little Logan didn't get his way. Ricochet ended up saying that he's cool with that, but he's not cool with Logan Paul going on his podcast about calling Ricochet unprofessional when he admitted that he didn't know what he was doing in the first place. So Ricochet ended up saying that they do it big here, and they don't do it on social media. He ended up saying that if Logan Paul has something to say to him, Logan Paul can say it to him face to face. So Logan Paul made his way out, got boos from the crowd. So Logan Paul ended up laughing into the mic as he walked down to the ring. Logan Paul ended up saying that Ricochet looks like a little boy. He ended up saying that he wants to make this quick because he doesn't want to be in this crap city of Buffalo any longer than he has to be. He ended up saying that Ricochet is a human highlight reel and one of the most spectacular superstars he's ever seen. He ended up saying when they get in the ring, it's fireworks, but he stands by what he said on his podcasts. Logan Paul ended up saying that at Money in the Bank, all the cronies cared more about him losing than winning. He ended up saying that Ricochet blew the match for both of them, and it makes Ricochet a reckless amateur. What is Logan Paul, being Bryan Danielson now and calling someone an amateur? So Logan Paul ended up saying that if Ricochet wants to talk unprofessional, he can do that. Logan Paul can do that. So Ricochet ended up saying that he was. He's a man of the people. He ended up saying that he promises that none of the people want Logan Paul near that Money in the Bank briefcase. He ended up saying Logan Paul keeps saying the word unprofessional. He ended up saying that he wouldn't be in this ring after 20 years of people telling him that he'll never be anything if he was unprofessional. So we had the fans end up chanting, Logan sucks. Ricochet ended up saying that he was going to do the professional thing and challenge Logan Paul to a match. But now that he's out here and he sees Logan Paul's stupid face, all he wants to do is hurt him. Ricochet ended up saying that he will do that, but he has some advice for the rookie. He ended up saying, don't you ever run your damn mouth about him again. Logan Paul ended up saying that he'll never be intimidated by a dude in extra medium button-up that's 90% forehead. So Logan Paul ended up saying that Ricochet is clever, and he respects it. Ricochet ended up saying that he wants a match with Logan Paul, so he can go viral. So Logan Paul ended up saying that he doesn't care about going viral. He is a WWE superstar. Paul ended up saying that he has a legendary knockout punch, and that Ricochet is about replays and clips. So Ricochet was furious, and he ended up doing a somersault flip over the top rope, and he ended up landing on his feet at ringside. Very cool somersault that he did, somersault flip. So Logan Paul ended up saying to Ricochet, that was cool for a TikTok, but he's not here to make moments. Logan Paul ended up saying that he is the moment, and that this isn't going to work out. So Logan Paul then turned around. He ended up going for a punch, but Ricochet ended up avoiding that. Ricochet ended up hitting Logan Paul with sliced bread number 2 on the floor. So Ricochet ended up shouting at Logan Paul, and he walked off, and pretty much that was basically that. Overall, I don't care about this. I don't care about Ricochet versus Logan Paul. I don't. And then we had Becky Lynch versus Zoey Stark. And this was an okay women's match here. So Becky Lynch made her way out to the ring, and then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Zoey Stark ended up coming out. She was accompanied by Trish Stratus, who still has the face mask on her. So the match got underway. Both Lynch and Zoey Stark end up circling the ring. Both of them end up locking up. Zoey Stark end up applying a side headlock on Lynch. Lynch end up whipping Zoey Stark off, but Zoey Stark end up taking Lynch down with a shoulder tackle. So Lynch end up hitting Stark with a waistlock takeover. Stark end up fighting up. She end up wrenching Becky Lynch's arm. Becky Lynch end up twisting out of that. She end up hooking a side headlock to Zoey Stark. Zoey Stark ended up fighting out and applied a side headlock to Becky Lynch. Lynch ended up whipping Zoey Stark off, ended up dropping down. But Zoey Stark ended up cartwheeling over Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch ended up quickly taking Zoey Stark down. She ended up sidestepping Zoey Stark, and she ended up hitting a pair of arm drags. So Becky Lynch ended up blocking an armbar on Zoey Stark, and she was shouting at Trish Stratus. Zoey Stark ended up fighting up, but Becky Lynch ended up catching Zoey Stark with an inside cradle, to which Zoey Stark ended up kicking out. Zoey Stark ended up taking Becky Lynch down, but Becky ended up bending out of that like Trish Stratus. Becky Lynch ended up hitting the ropes, and Trish Stratus ended up tripping Becky up. So Zoey Stark ended up punching Becky down, and she ended up charging at Becky, but Becky ended up putting Zoey Stark on the apron. Zoey Stark ended up avoiding a diving leg drop, but Becky ended up landing on her feet. Zoey Stark then ended up hitting Becky with a springboard dropkick, which sent Becky flying out of the ring. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Zoey Stark was in control of the match. She ended up rolling through a crossbody block, and she ended up powering Becky up. Becky ended up getting out of that, and she ended up kicking away at Zoey Stark. She ended up knocking Zoey Stark out to ringside. Becky ended up hitting the ropes and connected with a baseball slide to Stark. Becky got on the apron. She ended up hitting a diving clothesline out to the floor to Zoey Stark. Becky ended up throwing Stark into the barricade, and she ended up putting her in the ring. Becky ended up getting Stark in the ring, and she ended up hitting a pump handle exploder suplex to Stark. So Becky ended up going for the cover, to which Stark ended up kicking out. So we had Becky ended up sending Zoey Stark up near the corner. She ended up going to the top rope. Becky ended up jumping off, but landed on her feet when Zoey Stark ended up moving out of the way. Stark then clotheslined Becky, and then she followed up with a running knee to Becky's face. So Zoey Stark ended up charging at Lynch, but Becky ended up dropping Zoey Stark on the apron. Zoey Stark ended up snapping Becky off the top rope. She ended up hitting a slingshot twist and senton, and she ended up going for the cover, to which Becky ended up kicking out. Stark was going for the Z360, but Becky ended up getting out of that. Becky ended up countering with a reverse DDT, and she ended up going for the cover, to which Zoey Stark ended up kicking out. She then ended up trying to go for the disarmer, but Zoey Stark countered that with a roll-up, and Becky ended up kicking out. So we had Zoey Stark ended up shouting at Becky to quit, and she ended up mounting Becky with some stiff forearms to Becky's face. Zoey Stark ended up lifting up Becky, but Becky ended up sliding off, ended up rolling Zoey Stark up. Zoey Stark ended up rolling through, ended up grabbing the ropes, but the referee ended up catching her. So Becky Lynch ended up rolling Zoey Stark up, but Trish Stratus got on the apron. Zoey Stark ended up going for the Z360, but Becky countered that, and she ended up hitting Trish Stratus with a baseball slide. Zoey Stark then rolled Becky up, and so there you go. Zoey Stark ended up winning the match. Overall, it was an okay women's match here, but this feud between Becky and Trish Stratus, it needs to end. Hopefully it ends at SummerSlam. So then we saw Seth Rollins backstage with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Rollins ended up saying that he appreciates both Owens and Zayn making the save before asking for their plan. Sami Zayn ended up saying that they can beat the Judgment Day. They're 3 champions and are going to beat them because they can. Owens ended up saying that he has a smart plan. Owens ended up saying that he wants to punch faces and break noses. And pretty much that was basically that. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had the Alpha Academy graduation ceremony for Maxine Dupree. God, this whole segment was fucking awful. This was absolutely cringe. Oh, we're throwing the graduation ceremony for Maxine Dupree, all because she beat Valhalla in her debut match last week on Monday Night Raw. Oh. Yeah, golf clap. Who cares? So Chad Gable ended up shushing the crowd. God. I still hate Chad Gable going, shush and oh thank you. So fucking lame. Yeah, and he also ended up doing a thank you. God, so fucking cringe. And then Chad Gable and Otis, they were shown dressed in graduation regalia. Chad Gable ended up saying that they're here to honor an achievement, though not his own, because we'd be here all night. He ended up saying tonight we'll be celebrating the Alpha Academy's first female graduate. He ended up saying that she's put in the hard work and showed off her skill by beating the Viking Raiders with some sick arm drags. He ended up saying that it is his honor and pleasure to give an Alpha Academy diploma to Maxine Dupree, So Maxine Dupree ended up coming out. Her graduation gown was in a magenta color. So she got into the ring. She ended up thanking Chad Gable. She ended up saying that she thought he was an ugly little troll when she first met him. But she ended up saying that Gable is becoming a great mentor, teacher, and friend. She ended up saying that she beat that witch Valhalla with his training. So Dupree ended up saying that she also thanks the beautiful hunk of beef, Otis. She ended up saying that Otis is her Musi, and that this wouldn't be possible if he didn't catch her eye, and that they are just getting started. So Chad Gable and Otis ended up putting on the Alpha Academy jackets. Otis ended up wildly putting his on because they took off the graduation gowns. So Gable ended up telling Dupree to take off her cap and gown and put the last jacket she'll ever need. So the Viking Raiders music ended up hitting. Eric and Ivar headed down to the ring. And then Valhalla ended up attacking Maxine from behind. Valhalla then stole Maxine's Alpha Academy jacket. And that was basically that. This whole segment was awful and cringe. And I want this is another feud that I want to see end with the Alpha Academy and the Viking Raiders. How long are they going to have this feud? Just end it already. And then we had Shayna Baszler versus Emma. This was a squash match. And before the match even got underway, we saw a video of what happened earlier in the day where Emma walked up to Shayna Baszler. And supposedly, Emma acted like her and Shayna Baszler were friends. Shayna Baszler ended up saying that she'll demonstrate what she'll do to Ronda Rousey later on tonight. So pretty much squash match this was. Baszler ended up applying the Kirifuda clutch to Emma. Emma ended up tapping out. So there you go. Shayna Baszler ended up winning the match. Post-match, Ronda Rousey made her way down to the ring. Baszler was waiting for her. Ronda Rousey then punched Baszler in the face, and she ended up taking Baszler down. Both Rousey and Baszler were brawling in the ring. Baszler ended up going for the Kirifuda clutch to Rousey. Rousey ended up pulling Baszler off and ended up going for an armbar, but Baszler ended up rolling out. Baszler ended up pulling herself out of the ring and backed away from Ronda, and Ronda was irate. So pretty much that was basically that. So it looks like we're going to be getting Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam. So then we had Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes ended up coming out. He was going to deliver a message to Brock Lesnar. So Cody ended up coming out. Of course, he came out to a big reaction. Everybody going, whoa! And I was watching JD from New York 206's video of his Monday Night Raw review from last week. And I agreed with him because he kept saying, with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes coming out there in the first hour of Raw, it was like American Idol, where the crowd was just singing along to Rollins' theme music, and of course, the crowd singing along to Cody's theme music. Yeah, it was like American Idol. The crowd going, oh, whoa, and then of course, Cody comes out, the crowd goes, whoa! It's like, what are we doing here? Are we having American Idol? A singing competition? So Cody made his way out. Cody got on the mic, and he does this whole shtick saying, so Buffalo, what do you guys want to talk about? Cody then ended up saying that there are millions of people sitting at home. So he ended up asking if they can indulge him. So Cody ended up looking to the crowd, and the crowd was just cheering for him. Cody Chan ended up picking up. Cody ended up saying that he sees them and hopes they can see him. He ended up saying sometimes it feels like there's an invisible wall between him and the crowd, but he doesn't feel that way. And Cody ended up saying that the reason it feels like that and doesn't feel performative is because what he has been telling them since he returned is real. He ended up saying that they're not just talking about career goals, they're talking about life goals. He ended up saying someone asked him in the UK about his momentum. Cody ended up saying that he answered politely and was cagey. Rhodes then cited the fans. He ended up saying that every city is sold out and every crowd gets louder and louder. He ended up saying every metric you can judge him by, he's doing okay. Cody ended up saying that he thinks his momentum in the ring is shaky because of the mountain that stands in front of him. He ended up saying that it's a mountain he cannot go over, under, or around, and that he can only go through it. To which Cody was talking about Brock Lesnar. So Cody ended up saying that Brock Lesnar is not here tonight and didn't think Buffalo was worth the trip. Cody ended up saying that he was told that Brock Lesnar will be here next week. He ended up saying that he made a discovery about Mr. Lesnar and that everybody has a Brock Lesnar. Fear of heights, terrible anxiety, terrible student debt. Brock Lesnar, we all have it. He ended up saying that it's impeding us from the most important step we need to take. He ended up saying that his Brock Lesnar is 6'3", 285 pounds, and a walking billboard for Darwinism and natural selection. He ended up saying some men see things the way they are and say why. Others dream things and say, why not? Cody ended up saying that he dreams about a rubber match against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. He ended up saying nothing would make him happier if Lesnar came to the ring, shook his head, and knew it wasn't personal. He ended up saying that if him and Lesnar don't shake hands, he's going to finish the chapter that Lesnar started for no damn reason. And that the reason is simple. Why would anyone want another match against Brock Lesnar? And what comes from that fight? What emerges from that cloud of dust is simple. He ended up saying that guy is next in line. He ended up saying that Prince doesn't want to be the Prince forever. Cody ended up saying that he will be next in line. So pretty much basically Cody was just admitting that his feud with Brock Lesnar happened for no reason. Absolutely no reason. So that was basically that. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had The Miz versus Tomato Champa, which we already seen these two go at it, only this was a no disqualification match. And I gotta say, it was a good match, in my opinion. So The Miz ended up making his way out, and then Ciampa ended up making his way out. Ciampa then grabbed a steel chair. Miz ended up running out, and Ciampa ended up attacking Miz. He ended up whipping Miz into the LED board. Ciampa then sent Miz into the LED apron, and then he put Miz into the ring. Miz rolled into the ring and picked up the chair. The bell ended up ringing, which started off the match. Ciampa ended up tackling Miz down, and they were trading punches. Miz rolled out of the ring and attacked Ciampa. Ciampa ended up quickly bouncing Miz off the commentary table, and then Ciampa quickly ended up throwing Miz over the commentary table. Ciampa started chopping away at Miz's chest, and Ciampa ended up sitting Miz down in a chair. Ciampa then knocked Miz over with a running knee to his face. Ciampa ended up getting Miz into the ring. The fans, of course, were chanting, "We want tables." So Ciampa ended up positioning the chair in the ring. He ended up going for the fairy tale ending, but Miz countered that. He ended up going for the skull crusher finale to Ciampa on the chair, but Ciampa ended up powering out. Miz ended up quickly big booting Ciampa down. So Miz ended up recovering. Miz ended up grabbing the steel chair, and Ciampa ended up punching Miz in his midsection. Miz knocked Ciampa back to the corner, and he had pinned his clothesline to Ciampa. Miz ended up going to the top rope, and he leapt, but Ciampa ended up hitting Miz in the ribs with a steel chair. Ciampa then put the chair around Miz's head, and Ciampa then drived Miz's head into the ring post with the chair wrapped around Miz's head. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back, we had Ciampa end up in control of the match. Ciampa ended up bringing out a table. Miz ended up hitting Ciampa with a baseball slide, which sent Ciampa over the commentary table. Miz put the table back under the ring, to which Ciampa ended up attacking Miz, and he leaned the lid of the table onto the commentary table. Ciampa ended up hitting Miz with a back suplex on the lid of the commentary table. So Ciampa ended up getting Miz on the table. Miz ended up fighting back, and Ciampa ended up throwing Miz off the table and into the barricade. Ciampa ended up going under the ring, and he ended up throwing a chair and then a trash can lid into the ring. Ciampa then got a table out, which brought a big cheer from the crowd. Ciampa then put Miz in the ring. Miz ended up booting Ciampa in the face as he got into the ring. Miz ended up attacking Ciampa. He grabbed the trash can lid, and of course, the fans had to chant "tiny balls." Still on this tiny ball shit. So Miz ended up going to the second rope. He leapt off, and Ciampa ended up hitting a flying knee to Miz out of midair. Ciampa then stomped the trash can into Miz's midsection, and then he ended up hitting a pair of running trash can lid shots to Miz's head. Ciampa then set the table up, and Ciampa put Miz on the top rope. He ended up setting up for the air raid siren, but Ciampa then connected with the air raid siren off the second rope, and he put Miz through the table. Ciampa ended up going for the cover on the Miz, and Bronson Reed appeared. Bronson Reed pulled Ciampa out of the ring and avalanched him at ringside. Reed then ended up hitting a senton splash on the floor. He put Ciampa back into the ring. Bronson Reed ended up going to the top rope, and he hit the tsunami to Ciampa. Miz then slowly recovered. He slid over to cover Ciampa, and there you go. The Miz ended up winning the match thanks to Bronson Reed. So pretty much that was basically that. But overall, this was a good match between Miz and Ciampa, even though we already seen these two go at it. But at the same time, are we going back to Bronson Reed being, Miz's partner? Are we going that route again? If that happens, that's fucking terrible. Bronson Reed does not need to be a lackey for the Miz. And then we had Liv Morgan and Smiley Raquel Rodriguez. They were backstage. Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green end up walking up to both of them, end up asking why the both of them are going to be at ringside for their match against Kayden Carter and Katana Chance. Liv Morgan ended up saying that they just want to see their competition for next week. Raquel ended up telling Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville to settle down. So Rhea Ripley walked up to Liv Morgan and Raquel. Rhea Ripley got in Raquel Rodriguez's face. Rhea Ripley ended up saying that they got in her business for the second time last week. And if they do it again, that'll be strike 3. So Chelsea Green ended up walking up. She ended up saying, 3 strikes and you're out. Like in basketball? What? Clearly, Chelsea Green does not watch baseball. Saying, basketball is 3 strikes and you're out. Whoever wrote that for Chelsea Green obviously does not watch baseball. So Chelsea Green ended up saying, we're going to run this division with her. So Rhea Ripley ended up asking Chelsea Green, who said we? Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green quickly scurried off. Liv Morgan ended up saying that they're not scared of Rhea Ripley. And the reason they got involved in her business last week is that Rhea Ripley disrespected Natalya. Raquel Rodriguez ended up saying that they're going to stop her. And so they end up walking off, and that was that. And then Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan made their way down to the ring, and Monday Night Raw went to commercial. And as Monday Night Raw came back from commercial, we had Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville versus Kayden Carter and Katana Chance. Now, if you all said Kayden Carter and Katana Chance won the match, this is what I have to say to you. Yeah. If you all thought Kayden Carter and Katana Chance were winning the match, there you go. Because Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville ended up winning. And I called it when the match started. I was like, yep, Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, they're going to win the match. Kayden Carter and Katana Chance, they're going to be losing another match. I'm like, what a waste to bring Kayden Carter and Katana Chance up. I mean, they are a legit tag team, and look how the way they're being booked already. So, Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville won the match where Katana Chance ended up going after Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green ended up rolling her up. She got her feet on the ropes, in which Sonya Deville ended up holding down Chelsea Green's feet for the win. So they end up winning. And then next week, Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville are going to be facing Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Do you care? No. And then we had Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle backstage. Byron Saxton came up to the both of them. McIntyre ended up telling Saxton that there have been a lot of factions popping up, and that he wants to take Imperium out. Riddle ended up saying that he'll be facing Gunther next week. McIntyre ended up telling Riddle to hold off since he'll be away next week. Riddle ended up saying to Drew McIntyre that he went to Adam Pearce, and he got Giovanni, Vinci, and Ludwig Kaiser banned from ringside. So McIntyre ended up wishing Riddle luck, and he invites him to a party. So both McIntyre and Riddle end up walking off, and that was that. And so as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Kevin Patrick and Corey Graves on commentary. They went over what we're going to see next week on Monday Night Raw from Atlanta. And Brock Lesnar is going to be returning next week. We're going to have the Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders again. Only this time, it's a Viking rules match. What the fuck is a Viking rules match? And so then we're going to see Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Matt Riddle will take on Gunther, of course, non-title, with Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci banned from ringside. So all that is set for Monday Night Raw next week. Main event, 6-man tag, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Judgment Day, Balor, Priest, and Dominic. Of course, Rhea Ripley was also out there. This was a good main event. Seth Rollins started off the match against Dominic. Dominic quickly ended up running away, and Rollins chased after him. Dominic then tagged Balor in. Balor ended up getting into the ring. Rollins ended up throwing the attack from Balor, ended up taking it to him. Balor quickly ended up kneeing Rollins and wrenched Rollins' arm. So we had Senor Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, tagged in. Priest ended up attacking Rollins, and he threw Rollins into the corner. Rollins ended up getting away, and he started punching away at Priest. Rollins quickly ended up hitting a flatliner into the corner, and tagged in Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn came off the second rope with a diving elbow to Priest's head. Kevin Owens then tagged in. Sami Zayn ended up pinning Priest with a drop toe hold, and Owens ended up pinning a senton splash. He ended up going for the cover, to which Priest kicked out. Owens then hit the ropes, and Balor ended up kicking Owens in his spine. Rollins and Sami Zayn ended up attacking both Balor and Dominic. Priest got out of the ring and attacked Sami Zayn, and Rollins ended up breaking it up. Kevin Owens then ended up wiping everyone out with a somersault plancha off the top rope down to the floor, which looked great. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Damian Priest in control of the match. He was standing over Kevin Owens. Priest ended up wrenching Kevin Owens' arm and pulled him to his feet. Owens ended up punching out, but Priest ended up kneeing Owens and then hit an uppercut to him. Priest then knocked Sami Zayn off the apron. Priest then avalanched Owens in the corner. Balor tagged in, ended up hitting a slingshot stomp. Dom ended up tagging in. He ended up hitting a slingshot senton like Eddie Guerrero to Kevin Owens. Balor then ended up giving Owens a backbreaker, and Priest ended up hitting a leg drop. He ended up going for the cover, to which Owens ended up kicking out. Balor then ended up tagging back in. He kicked Owens in the face. So Rhea Ripley taunted Owens at ringside. Balor ended up sending Owens into the ropes, but Owens ended up countering back with a DDT to Balor. Dominic ended up tagging in, but Kevin Owens ended up avoiding him. Rollins then tagged in. Rollins then clotheslined Dom. Rollins then punched Priest off the apron. He then clotheslined Dom again, started striking away at him. Rollins ended up going for the pedigree to Dom, but he ended up sending Damian Priest over the top rope. Dom ended up going for a roll-up, but Rollins then rolled through. He ended up kicking Dom in the head, to which Rollins ended up going for the cover, and Dom kicked out. Rollins ended up going for a buckle bomb, but Dom ended up raking Rollins' eyes. Priest ended up tagging in. He ended up kicking Rollins' back. Priest ended up hitting a short arm clothesline, to which he went for the cover, and Rollins ended up kicking out. You had a point later on in the match where Rollins ended up hitting Priest with the pedigree. He ended up going for the cover, and Balor broke up the pin. Balor then tagged in. He ended up going for the sling blade. Rollins then ended up hooking Balor's head, and he ended up hitting a front suplex. Dom ended up tagging in, and Balor ended up dropping Rollins. Dom ended up hitting a frog splash. He ended up going for the cover, but Sami Zayn broke up the pin. So Balor ended up hitting Rollins with a sling blade. Balor ended up charging at Rollins, but Rollins ended up super kicking Balor down. So Sami Zayn got on the apron. He ended up tagging in. Sami Zayn ended up coming off the top rope with a diving crossbody block to Balor. He ended up going for the cover, and Balor ended up kicking out. Sami Zayn ended up going for a Blue Thunder Bomb. It looked like Balor was supposed to get out of that, but Balor ended up getting slammed with the Blue Thunder Bomb by Sami Zayn. Balor then ended up hitting a sling blade as he came up, and then he delivered a drop kick to the corner to Sami Zayn. Balor came off the top rope, but Sami Zayn moved out of the way. Sami Zayn connected with a Blue Thunder Bomb, and he ended up going for the cover, and Dominic broke up the pin. Dom ended up attacking Sami Zayn, and then he turned into a stunner from Kevin Owens. Priest ended up sending Owens out of the ring. Sami Zayn clotheslined Priest out of the ring, ended up hitting Balor with an exploder suplex into the corner. And that led to Rhea Ripley pulling on Sami Zayn's ankle, and that gave Priest the chance to hit Sami Zayn with the South of Heaven. Balor then ended up hitting Sami Zayn with the coup de grace, and so he ended up going for the cover, and there you go. The Judgment Day ended up winning the match. Overall, it was a good main event, and the Judgment Day pick up another win. But that was Monday Night Raw tonight. Overall, same old boring show, absolutely awful. Cody Rhodes ended up saying that his feud with Brock Lesnar happened for no reason. But overall, boring Monday Night Raw it was. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all Wednesday night for AEW Dynamite. So, see you all then.